Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Math with Mr. W. And this morning, our discussion is all about adding three one-digit numbers, no sums of 10. So remember back in kindergarten, we had three numbers that we added, but we were looking for things that added up to 10. Earlier, we talked about adding to 15. So this time we've gotten a little bit smarter. We've gotten into the teens and we really know all about 8 plus 7, 9 plus 6, 10 plus 5. We all know what three numbers add up to 15. And we might see three numbers that add up to 15, we'll know the answer. But what if that numbers are bigger? What if those numbers are not quite 15? So we have to be able to do that. And we're going to learn something we already know about, and that's being able to do two numbers we've already done before, and then add the third one. Now, this is called the associative property. It's not important that we learn the associative property as a property of mathematics right now, but it's kind of like, think about it when you're with your two friends. Sometimes you're talking to both of them at the same time. But if you think about it, it's kind of hard sometimes to talk to both of them at the same time. So oftentimes you just talk to one of them. And then you may pick it up and then talk to the other one. So it's kind of like an association of three people. Let's look at this. We've got three numbers. We've got the number 8 plus 3 plus 6. Oh, now I want to add them together. As a teacher, there's no trouble adding these together and getting 17. But how are we going to bring this to our students? How do we get this to the kids? How do we make them feel comfortable about this when there is no 10 there? Well, first of all, we have groupings. Remember, these are three kids talking. So it doesn't matter who's talking to each other. We can decide, let's take these first two people and have them talking to each other, 8 plus 3. And we're going to take care of that. So 8 plus 3, and everybody should know what 8 plus 3 is. And please, the last 3 years I've been working, I've had students coming in with problems that just had things of this type, where even with using variables, I've seen them counting on their fingers. They've never broken that habit. And I'd like to see that habit never even starts. So that habit of using your fingers shouldn't happen, because they know that 8 plus 2 is 10. And 3 is just one more than 2. So right here is 8 plus 3 has to be 11, which is equal to 10 plus 1. That's what this is. It's 10 plus 1. And this is what you're introducing in first grade. You're introducing the tens place and the power of the tens place. Okay? And then you're adding 6 to that. So the 6 is a ones place number. When I add those together, the 6 and the 1 make the 7. And I still have my 10. And that equals my 17. So that's one way of putting them together. But what I've done here is I've gotten the students to recognize that this 11 is really in two parts. It's the tens place, a full 10, and one more. So when I add the 1 and 6 and I get 7, I get the full 17. Now, I don't have to associate things this way. I could do it another way. I could take 8 plus 3 plus 6, and I could put these two together first. Now I've got 8 And everybody knows 3 plus 6 is 9. So now I've got 8 plus 9. Now, here's where the student should never, ever be looking at their fingers. This has to be part of what they're doing in their mind. Okay? You have been practicing over and over and over again, and you know that 8 plus 7 equals 15. That's a fact. Well, 9 is just 2 more than 15. So we have 15 plus 2 equals 17. And we have the answer once again. Now that's 2 ways of doing it. So I've associated the 8 with the 3 with the 6. I just haven't associated the 8 with the 6. Well, let's associate the 8 with the 6. And I realized that 8 plus 7 is 15. But 6 is 1 less than 7. And so I know that 8 plus 6 is 14. And this again must be practice that's taking place in your classroom. I think that this is something you've been doing many, many times. 8 plus 6 is 14. It is not something that is not memorized. It is something that's got to be clear in their minds, that 8 plus 6 is 14. All right? They have this 8 plus 6, and they realize immediately that that's 14, which is really 10 plus 4. They need the 3 left over, and that'll give them 10 plus 7, and that gives them the 17. So what have I done here? I've shown them with 3 numbers that I can associate any of one of 3 ways. Next, I said, rather than just looking at 14 plus 3, I've broken the 14 up into 10 plus 4. And that's going to become really important in the next time we look at things. And then when I add the 3 is in the ones place. It's a single digit. This is a tens place. So I had 10 plus, what's the sum of 4 and 3? 7. So I get 17. We get 17 in all cases. And it shows them beyond a shadow of a doubt, no matter which way I add, I always get 17. Now, I hope that this has been a help for you. I hope that you can use this. And I look forward to seeing you again on Math with Mr. W.